Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are digging into a pretty radical idea, one that turns everything we've been taught about financial security completely upside down. What if getting a job is actually the riskiest thing you can do with your life? Let's get into it.
This statement right here, this is the heart of our whole conversation. It's a little jarring, right? It's meant to be. It forces us to ask a tough question. Is that steady paycheck really the safe path, or is it just a cage we've learned to call home?
For generations, the mission was simple: get a good, stable job. But here's the thing, that stability is becoming more and more of an illusion. We're about to break down exactly why relying on a traditional job is a strategy that's quickly going out of date.
I mean, let's be real, the job market is just not what it used to be. Careers that felt rock solid a decade ago can vanish in a flash. And a lot of the jobs that are left, they just don't pay enough to build a decent life on. So it's really no surprise that people are starting to look for another way.
And this isn't some small niche movement we're talking about. Almost 30% of the entire global workforce is already self-employed. Think about that. That's not a trend. That is a massive, fundamental shift in how human beings are choosing to earn a living.
And you know, the big reason for this shift is technology. All those old barriers that kept people from starting their own thing, they've pretty much crumbled. Today, you can build a business and reach customers all over the world faster and cheaper than at any other time in history.
Okay, so this brings us to a really critical idea, what I like to call the time trap. To really get the difference between an employee and an entrepreneur, you have to ask yourself one simple question. Am I getting paid for my time, or am I getting paid for the results I create?
The traditional employee model, it's basically a rental agreement. You're paid for a block of your time, which means you're literally renting out your brain power and your skills for, say, 8 hours a day. And by definition, that means your income is always capped by the number of hours you can physically work.
And when you put them side by side, the difference is just huge. The employee sells time, the entrepreneur creates results. One rents out their mind, the other owns the whole project. One has to follow a schedule someone else sets, the other gets to manage their own time. And that single distinction, it changes everything.
Now, escaping this time trap doesn't mean you have to storm into your boss's office and quit tomorrow. It all starts with a much quieter but more powerful step. A conscious decision to completely change how you think about your own value.
So here's the mental flip you have to make. Stop thinking about the hours you put in and start thinking obsessively about the results you deliver. Real wealth isn't built by clocking in. It's built by people who work on their own projects, on their own time, and get paid for the value they create.
Okay, so you've got the new mindset. That's step one. But a mindset alone isn't enough, right? Now comes the part that really matters. Turning that new way of thinking into actual concrete action.
We all love to romanticize the million-dollar idea, but an idea all by itself is literally worthless. The biggest myth out there is that if you just have a secret idea and you hide it, you'll get rich. The truth is, an idea only becomes valuable the moment you start executing it.
And that execution, it takes time, a long time. This is not a get-rich-quick thing. Building something that lasts is a long game. Seriously, it can take years for a new business to even start making a profit. You have to be ready for that long, hard fight.
And this long-term view is absolutely key to understanding how business value actually works. See, a company can be incredibly valuable even if it isn't making any money today. Its real worth is based on the profits it's expected to generate over its entire lifetime. A classic example of this? PayPal.
Take a look at this. Back in 2001, PayPal had basically zero current profits. And yet, the company had this massive valuation. Why? Because that value was almost entirely based on the profits everyone expected it to make over the next 10 years. That's the power of having a long-term vision.
And honestly, there's no better example of long-term vision than Steve Jobs at Apple. When he came back in '97, Apple was on the ropes. Then in 2001, he launches the iPod. But you see, the iPod was never the real goal. It was just a step in a much, much bigger master plan that would finally be revealed with the iPhone.
And what's so funny is that, at the time, all the so-called experts, the analysts, they completely missed it. They called the iPod a simple accessory. They just saw a music player. They couldn't see the software, the ecosystem, the app store. They couldn't see the vision.
So the real lesson from Apple is so clear. A founder's vision is everything. The iPod wasn't just about music. It was like a Trojan horse to get Apple's software onto millions of computers, paving the way for the real vision, which was the iPhone and its whole world of apps. It just proves that a patient, long-term plan will always beat short-term thinking if you're trying to build something that lasts.
All right, so the final piece of this entire puzzle is about completely reframing how you look at the world, especially when things go wrong. This might be some of the best advice anyone can ever get. Don't sit around waiting for the perfect opportunity to fall into your lap. The future isn't something you predict, it's something you go out and invent.
You have to create your own luck.
And this reframe is so powerful. Think about it. The world is overflowing with problems that need solving. The issue isn't a lack of work to be done. The issue is that we've been trained to only see work when it's packaged neatly as a job. The real challenge is to sharpen our vision.
So how do you sharpen that vision? Well, you can start with this simple framework. Step 1, a crisis isn't a disaster. It's a signal that you need to change. Step 2, in every single loss, there is a seed of a future gain hidden inside it. Your job is to find it. And finally, step 3, develop a mindset where you stop seeing problems and you only see opportunities.
Because in the end, it all comes down to perspective. Two people can be in the exact same crisis. One sees the end of the world, the other sees a new beginning. The person who can't find the opportunity, well, they're condemned to suffer. But the other person, they enter a whole new world of growth.
So that leaves us with one final thought. For you, whatever you're dealing with right now, a job loss, a project that failed, or maybe just a feeling that you're stuck, what is the crisis you're facing? And more importantly, what opportunity is that crisis hiding?